On the grounds of an abandoned military base somewhere in Europe lies a decommissioned NATO radar station. It was once part of the Control and Reporting Center, CRC, for cross-regional airspace surveillance of two countries and was considered one of the most significant radar stations in Europe. Join us on this unique lost place exploration. Our destination was the building housing the massive radar antenna enclosed by an imposing radome, a protective dome. This structure not only shielded the sensitive technology from the elements, but also helped minimize interference and conceal the facility. The Control and Reporting Center, CRC, was built in 1955. A total of 211 people worked in the various facilities on the site. The central control of the facility was carried out from a multi-story bunker located about 30 meters underground. This was where all information converged, and from this protected location, operations were coordinated. Unfortunately, the bunker was no longer accessible during our visit. Directly beneath the antenna were the radar's transmission and reception devices. Here, the raw data from the primary and secondary radar were processed and forwarded to the command center. The technical rooms housed high-performance computers that detected and analyzed flight movements. The primary radar antenna directly above us was a surveillance radar, primary surveillance radar, PSR, capable of detecting aircraft independently of transponder signals. It operated on the principle of radar reflection, echoes, and was housed within the rotating unit beneath the radome. The radar antenna was housed within a large, spherical radome to protect it from weather conditions such as wind, rain, and snow. This enclosure was made of a special material that was transparent to radar waves, allowing signals to be transmitted and received without interference. The aerodynamic shape of the radome prevented air turbulence and reduced mechanical stress on the rotating antenna. Inside, a sturdy support structure provided additional stability, securing the radar system in place, while the radome itself acted as a protective barrier against external influences. This ensured that the radar could operate with precision around the clock, regardless of weather conditions. On one side, the antenna has a large metal grid reflector visible here on the right, which focused the emitted radar waves in a specific direction. On the opposite side was the emitter, horn radiator or dipole array, which generated electromagnetic pulses and transmitted them to the reflector for targeted emission of radar waves. At the same time, it functioned as a receiver, capturing the signals reflected by objects and forwarding them for further processing. The radar antenna emitted electromagnetic waves that traveled at the speed of light and were reflected by objects in the airspace. Once these reflected waves returned to the antenna, the object's distance was calculated based on the signal's travel time. Additionally, the continuous rotation of the antenna allowed for determining the direction of the target, creating a complete airspace picture. The radar utilized pulse Doppler technology to detect not only the position, but also the speed and movement direction of aircraft. To minimize interference from terrain or weather, the received signals were processed and filtered by computers. The detected flight movements were then transmitted in real time to the control center, where they were cross-checked with additional data and analyzed. The entire structure was mounted on a sturdy rotating mechanism that continuously turned the antenna to scan the entire airspace at regular intervals. Due to its size and powerful design, the antenna was capable of detecting aircraft at great distances and altitudes with a range of over 400 kilometers. Typical rotation speeds ranged from 5 to 12 revolutions per minute, depending on the scan frequency and application. This allowed it to generate a complete airspace picture every few seconds. In the event of a scramble alert, emergency takeoff for an interception mission against an unidentified or hostile aircraft in the airspace, 2 armed F-16 fighter jets were on standby. They could take off within minutes to ensure the integrity of both countries' airspace. In November 2017, construction began on a new state-of-the-art radar station at a different location, which was completed in 2020 and seamlessly took over the surveillance duties of its predecessor. On April 14, 2021, the national flag was lowered for the last time, a symbolic act marking the official end of the CRC. With that, the facility was officially decommissioned and abandoned by NATO.